Thank you. Thanks to everyone at Jentel. This has been a really incredible experience, and it's not even over, and I'm really excited to be here. Everyone who I've met is amazing and inspiring. I just want to say a quick 2-minute intro about myself, and then I'm going to read about 8 minutes from a short story that I wrote. So I grew up in a small town, a small state in Delaware, right by the Atlantic Ocean. And I started writing, I started reading, I loved reading, I loved going into libraries. And I eventually majored as an artist, a visual artist, but I found work as an advertising copywriter, which does factor into my story that I'm going to read. And I, so that kind of got me started with a passion of writing. Since then, I've written short stories, short humor pieces, so some stuff's funny. So if you look up my stuff online, you can see that I write about everything from cults to video games to music. My interests are really varied. Right now at Jentel, I'm working on a young adult novel dedicated for my son Miles, and it's about an ultimate frisbee team which started in my town where I live in Maplewood, and it's about kind of a tournament situation and a reality show that comes in to film them to up the drama. Right now, I'm going to read this story called The Driver. So let's take a trip. And this is called The Driver. Oh, this is this is fiction. I just want to say. Okay. Don't be too concerned about me. All right. Be a little concerned. At the Northwest Arkansas Airport, I waited for an Uber in the pickup lane. I was here for Walmart's sales conference, the big one where we're supposed to hit numbers or else. I work for Church & Dwight, a packaged goods company based out of Central Jersey. Our brands included everything from vitamins to dish soap. COVID had bungled the show for a few years, and seeing as we have 3 boys, the little ones still in diapers, I was itching to escape our home. I set my wife Sarah up with every caretaker we knew. All the while, I had the troubling feeling that I needed someone watching over me. The plane had been full of fellow conference attendees, our competition. Most of them drank and pecked away on pitch decks. A whiskey here, a vodka there. My nervous system ached for alcohol. Day 70, I kept reminding myself, about 2 months. My first meeting was in March, after one of the worst work periods of my life. After admitting I was an alcoholic, I cried. The grizzled man next to me tapped my arm. Know what SOBER stands for, he whispered. Son of a bitch, everything's real. In the rooms, I felt an intense loyalty to strangers. I had called some of the contacts on my list, but I didn't yet have a sponsor. I was working on the first step, admitting powerless over alcohol, that my life had become unmanageable. I checked Uber again. The car icons moved like toys. The app flickered as the driver canceled and the system found another. I was eager to get to my hotel and delve into a self-help book on stoicism. A second driver, much farther away, took the other one's place. It would be nearly an hour before I got settled. Sarah was mad and confused that I had been attending meetings. The best time for me happened right in the infamous witching hour, when she needed my help the most. A fair point. I explained that I had to put on my oxygen mask first, so to speak. The pandemic was hard for people with children, and we had it bad. Right in the middle of it, we lost my mother-in-law. Patty was a selfless caretaker, a loving presence for her grandsons. Fearful of doctors, she blindsided everyone, her husband included, with breast cancer that she let grow terminal. I had started drinking more in the aftermath. Sarah had too. During these business trips, drinking was a given. Putting in FaceTime with my bosses at the hotel bar, wooing clients over expense account dinners. The next 4 days were going to be an addict's gauntlet. My driver pulled up in a white sedan. He shoved some milk crates to the back of the trunk and loaded in my suitcase. As the lights of the fast food places and strip malls blazed past, The driver asked me what brought me here. I told him about the conference. Walmart, he asked. Yep, I replied. I take it I'm not your first rep. Pardon? Sales rep. This week is our Super Bowl. That's right, the driver drummed his steering wheel. I've had a few passengers from P&G as well. Good for business. How long are you staying? 4 days. We leave Saturday. Sales is tough, the driver mused. My older brother was a great salesman. My younger brother, not so much. He had a farm in Gabtali. My family's from Bangladesh, you see. Once he brought a blind donkey from a cattle trader. Didn't know he was blind. Big mistake. Then our older brother sold it to another farmer. He didn't lie, though. He said the donkey could predict the rain. Its hoof would stomp twice. Ha! My mother always said, that's Saeed. He could sell you a blind donkey. Funny, I replied. My departing flight had sat on the tarmac for 2 hours, and I wasn't in the mood to chat. I cracked the window, the cool air fanning my face. I pictured a drink, colorful and shimmery, the ice popping, releasing all the rage I harbored. How long have you been in sales, my friend? The driver asked. 20 years, I replied. I can't believe it. It freaks me out to say that. Why? He said. You must be good at what you do. I guess so. We passed an abandoned gas station. The pumps were wrapped in garbage bags that shivered in the wind. My partners and I are selling our gas station, the driver said. I'm reinvesting in a restaurant in Eureka Springs. Badish, it's called. We already got one here. But there are more tourists in Eureka, more open to Bangladeshi cuisine. It's light and tasty. No chicken tikka, I'll tell you that. Totally in a different realm. Yes, that's my next move. Nice. The driver was a heavy-set man with 2 clumps of hair on his upper lip. He sat low in the car seat. The lights of the Arkansas highway streaked across his eyes. Tell me about sales, he said. What about? Is it like Mad Men? All the drinking, the womanizing? Doesn't seem that bad, he chuckled. It's nothing like that. Not anymore. It's very boring now. Well, those Proctor guys, the party's already started for them. Last night they stunk my car to high heaven. I thought the cops might get a whiff and pull me over. Why does everyone drink at this conference? Out of boredom, I chuckled at the paradox. Alcohol helped grease the wheels of the client relationship. Plus, the high pressure of this week drove sales managers to excess. Some of my coworkers would emerge from the bathroom rubbing their noses. Coke helped with the constant talking. I used to abuse that drug too, but it had been years. Poisoning themselves from boredom, the driver clucked his tongue, sad. Yeah, well, I'm sober now. Very good, my friend, better for your health. I was telling my Uber driver more than I had told my parents. Alcoholism ran up and down my father's side. My grandfather had died of cirrhosis. My father had somehow avoided addiction. I was ashamed to tell him, whereas this cab had become a confession booth. As we got closer to the hotel, the driver said he was one of 5 siblings. I mentioned our 3 boys. Much as I needed the time away, I missed my family during these business trips. Fear would find me in the mornings, grabbing hold of my heart as I sipped coffee on some hard, waxy couch. An ache would set in. Then at night, the consuming need to numb the pain. Do you hit your children? The driver asked. No, I said. Then for some reason, I corrected myself. Actually, I have, more than once, but I regret it. One incident flashed in my mind. Deeply hungover before school drop-off, with the children wrestling each other, knocking over a potted plant in the maelstrom, I lifted Mason by his shirt, such a small child, as light as a pillow, and I shook him so hard that his shoes flung off his feet. Sarah threatened to call child services. I shoved her, howling something about this is what it feels like to live here, a place where the very walls thrummed with grief and anger. If I had kids, I would beat them, the driver said matter-of-factly. My father hit me, and that's what made me listen. If kids aren't disciplined, they'll walk all over you. Mason's lashing out was becoming more pronounced. Every morning he would thrash in blankets, yelling that he didn't have the right sweatpants. I didn't know if I hated parenting so much, or if all our support systems had fallen away after Patty's death. Hopefully, in recovery, I could understand my bottomless anger, why alcohol delivered a sense of peace that seemed impossible to find elsewhere. I don't think violence is the answer, I said. Kids make life difficult, though, that's for sure. They take advantage. You're right, maybe we've all gone too soft. I became a hard worker because I did not want to disrespect my father, the driver said. Parents let their kids run the house. That's why you see more ADHD. It's not because of their brains, it's because parents don't know how to discipline. Fair point. He pulled into the hotel parking lot and opened the trunk. Our entire conversation melted into the crisp night air. "Thank you, my friend," the driver said from his open window. "I'm around for your trip back on Sunday. Or if you need another ride at any time, you have my information." Perfectly timed. Perfectly timed. Questions? Yeah.
How do you decide, or what is your criteria for your subject matter, for what you write about?
That's such a good question. It's one I've been thinking about a lot lately. I feel I have this feeling that, like, I use that kind of cliche phrase, like, you have to go to the dance with who you came to the dance with. And I feel that about stories. You know, they kind of, they lodge inside of your brain, the best ones, and you can't let go of them, even though sometimes you want to, or you'd rather them not be inside of your brain. But I guess the process is getting them out. I mean, a good example was this one. It was actually in my residency before, or my last residency, and I had a bit of a similar, like I said, fictional conversation with a driver that got very intense very quick. And I had planned to go into the particular residency with a completely different set of writing objectives, and I was like, I have to write this. So yeah, that's kind of how it works for me.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
What's your style?
My style, oh God, that's another thing. Yeah, well, I do feel like tone is so important to me, and I have a lot of different tones that come to me. Some of them are usually light and funny. This one was not, but I feel like one of the things that I've been working out here and just in general is, you know, how do these tones sort of merge maybe a little more harmoniously with each other? And then sometimes I'm like, who cares? You know, I'm just gonna do these different things and see what happens, because the stuff that a lot of the things I've published are completely satirical and funny, and then the other things aren't. So I'm kind of become at least a little bit happy that I can work on that. But I do feel like it's sort of like the spark kind of, and the best thing, and it's hard, but is when the spark of the idea of the story and the tone kind of synthesize and come together, and you're like, yes, this feels right, rather than, you know, something that you're kind of trying to impose on the story in some way, some sort of like tone or agenda or something. That is part of I think the working process. Yeah.
Where did another fine job come from?
Another fine job. I feel like that comes from my dad, who worked in construction. I don't know. It's like, and when I came up with that website, my wife was like, "That's like a little, like, you know, flippant or whatever." But I'm like, I don't know. I make my money in coming up with creative concepts for advertising, and I feel like there's a lot of self-deprecation, I think, in the industry, but also for me too. I tend to almost like self-deprecate too much. So another fine job. Good one.